Hey guys, we continue to keep track on the events on the front lines of Ukraine and Russia, as well as the latest news. As of today, we can see how the most significant events on the front are unfolding. The Ukrainian armed forces have initiated an active offensive because time is running out. The first month of summer has already ended and the pace of advancement is increasing. But before we start, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. On the Zaporizhzhia direction, we can see that the Ukrainian armed forces are breaking through in several groups towards the village of Очеретувати, which is located 10 kilometers from the front line. The fighting is still ongoing, so there is no precise information about the front line. We are waiting to see if the Ukrainian armed forces will be able to secure new positions. If successful, they will be about 17 kilometers away from Tokmak, and while they may not directly storm the city, it will become easier to shell the Russian bases there and then the liberation of Melitopol. Meanwhile, the Russians continue to shell the entire front line and try to halt the Ukrainian offensive. Overall, everything is going according to plan, and it's clear that the Russians no longer deny the significant advancement of the Ukrainian armed forces. The Russians won't be able to sustain this situation for long, and that's a fact. Today, we also observe that the Ukrainian armed forces are advancing in the area of Zaliznyánsk, but there is no information about their progress yet. In turn, the Russians are trying to force the Ukrainian forces out of the city, but the Ukrainian troops have managed to advance several streets and gain control over them. The shelling continues along the entire front line, and yesterday the occupiers attacked the village of Sergiyevka in Donetsk region. On the Avdiivka direction, the occupiers continue their attempts to break through to the outskirts of Avdiivka, but the Ukrainian armed forces successfully repel all attacks and the front line remains unchanged. Further south, there are shelling and battles for the outskirts of Mariinka. Yesterday, the Russians again attacked the settlements of Pobeda and Novomykhailivka, but the front line remained unchanged over the past day. On the Vuhledar direction, the Ukrainian armed forces are conducting offensive operations in the area of Privitne, but there is no information about new advancements yet, and the front line remains unchanged. The Russians are not retreating and are trying to shell the advancing Ukrainian machinery to hinder Ukraine's counteroffensive. In the direction of Kherson, the Russians are shelling the front line and reporting that the Ukrainian armed forces are located near the Antonovsky Bridge. According to European Truth, this information is mentioned in the intelligence review of the British Minister of Defense on the Russian-Ukrainian war as of July 1st. Analysts note that from June 23rd, Ukrainian forces have most likely started moving to the left bank of the Dnipro River near the Antonovsky Bridge. From June 27, the fighting intensified on the left bank. Among the Russian units in this area are elements of the 7th Guard Airborne Assault Division, which is part of the Russian Dnipro Group. In recent weeks, it is highly likely that the Russian Federation has transferred parts of this group that defend the Dnipro River bank to reinforce the sector near Zaporizhzhia. The fighting near the bridge is almost certainly complicating the flood, destruction and mood due to the destruction of the Kakhovka hydroelectric power station dam on June 6, states the intelligence report. Meanwhile, the Institute for the Study of War also states that there may be around 70 Ukrainian defenders under the eastern span of the Antonovsky Bridge, and the Russians are unable to dislodge them. Russia is currently targeting the bridge to completely destroy it and thus hinder the presence of Ukrainian forces on the left bank. In the Crimea and Siversk area, Russia is still attempting to advance on Bilogorivka, changing directions and conducting shelling. But all their attempts have been unsuccessful, and the Ukrainian armed forces are holding their defense. The front line remains unchanged. In the Dvorichna and Svatove area, Russia continues the shelling. However, there are no significant changes in the overall situation and no offensive actions are being conducted. Additionally, there are ongoing shelling from Russian territory towards Chernihiv and Sumy regions. Furthermore, due to Belarus receiving nuclear weapons from Russia, Lukashenko is boasting about it worldwide. In response, Poland intends to host US nuclear weapons on its territory. This statement was made by Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki. It is evident that the tension of nuclear threats is escalating. Yesterday, at the airport of Chisinau, a foreigner opened fire after being denied entry. According to the police, 2 people were injured. The passengers at the airport were evacuated and flights were cancelled. A special forces team arrived at the scene. They managed to shoot the attacker. He was arrested. The reason behind his actions are still unknown, as well as the condition of the injured. However, it has been revealed today that the attacker is a 43-year-old citizen of Tajikistan who was denied entry to Moldova for security reasons. Prime Minister Dorin Rechan stated that in addition to the bodyguard and security service personnel killed, 1 passenger was wounded. Therefore, Moldova's authorities have placed all state institutions and law enforcement agencies on heightened alert. Yesterday, an unmanned aerial vehicle of the Ukrainian armed forces attempted to attack the Kursk region. Russian military forces brought it down using an anti-drone rifle. According to Baze, the aircraft-type unmanned aerial vehicle was launched from the Ukrainian side in the morning of June 30. However, it didn't fly far. The unmanned aerial vehicle was detected by Kursk border guards right above the border and was brought down in the area of the village of Garnal using an anti-drone rifle. No one was injured as a result of this incident. It is also reported that the Prime Minister of Spain, Sanchez, has arrived in Kiev for a meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky. As Sanchez himself says, I wanted the first act of Spain's presidency of the European Union Council to be in Ukraine together with Zelensky. That's all from me. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.